Let's cross live now to Tareq Azzoum in Deir al-Balah in central Gaza. Tareq, thanks for being with us. So food is getting in, but only in small amounts, and often it's not the types that are really needed, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. While 8 trucks are entering Gaza, the amounts and the quantities are still extremely limited and inconsistent. For instance, we are seeing a relative surge in the numbers of dry goods and canned items, while on the other hand, we can see severe restrictions on protein, fresh food and formula milk entry into Gaza, which really had been impacting on the humanitarian conditions of the most vulnerable groups in the territory. We saw that by the terms of the agreement, 608 trucks are meant to access Gaza on a daily basis, and what has been allowed into the strip since the implementation of the ceasefire deal does not often meet the demands of Gaza's population, and that's why we can see that different trucks remain denied from accessing the strip, which constraining humanitarian operations on the ground. And for many Palestinians, the first phase of the agreement is meant to allow for an unconditional flow of humanitarian supplies that can enable civilians to recover from long months of famine through which they have been surviving on the brink of that famine and battling to survive, possibly on 1 meal per day, sometimes 3 meals for the entire week. That's why we saw some families during the famine spreading period, they were surviving on animal feeds and they were desperately losing much of their weight. So this phase of the agreement was meant to alleviate the humanitarian crisis, but the amount that is allowed to access Gaza Strip shows a clear preference by the Israeli military for the entry of commercial trucks in a comparison with the desperately needed humanitarian supplies, including tents, food with fresh vegetables, protein, and all kinds also of essential medicines that desperately needed to alleviate the growing medical crisis in Gaza's hospitals.
Tareq, what kind of impact is all of this having on children who are beginning to resume classes after 2 years of war?
Well, Mohammed, the impact is devastating both physically and psychologically on children. Children started to return to what used to be schools in the past, but now partially destroyed buildings or tent classrooms that lack all kinds of essential materials, desks, and even a sense of safety as well. We have been told by teachers that students started recently to show different signs of exhaustion. They told us they are withdrawn, anxious and unable to concentrate. And we have got also confirmation from some parents that for them returning back to classrooms is a glimmer of hope amid the huge sense of uncertainty unfolding in Gaza, where parents are striving to ensure that their children will get enough level of education in this battered landscape. And we have been touring between UNRWA schools that started resuming educational classrooms across the central parts of the Gaza Strip. And what we have heard was very grim, but there is an undeniable desire among children to dream, to grow, and to reclaim a sense of normality again. Let's have a listen.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news, expert insight. Like, share, stay ahead.